Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
All right, so welcome to our second of our candidate interviews for the District 198 House of Representatives seat. We have our second candidate today for that office, Mr. Fareed Abdullah. And want to, before we start that, I just want to talk about the mail-in ballots, which are starting to arrive at people's houses. I want to show people what that looks like. And then after that, we're going to have our students from Central High School interviewing Mr. Abdullah, and that'll start in just a minute. So let me stop presenting this. And what you're going to get in the mail is an envelope that looks like this. This is your mail-in ballot envelope, okay? When you open this up, you're gonna get this big, long ballot. It's two-sided. I'm not gonna show you the other side because I already marked it, right? This is the actual ballot that you will be mailing back to actually vote, right? So this is, after you've applied, you'll get the mail-in ballot sent to you. It's also going to be two envelopes, right? Why two envelopes? Because it's a secret ballot system. It's a two-envelope secret ballot system. This is what ensures secrecy of who you vote for, but also enables the election board to know if you voted or not, right? And then, so you'll have some information, a little barcode here. They validate your ballot, and then they'll send you an email that says, all right, yes, you voted. Right? They're not going to share who you voted for, but they will know that you voted, and you'll know that your vote was received, right? So people are worried about security. It's pretty secure. It'll come with a list of the ballot questions on here. There's two ballot questions, which we'll talk about soon, okay? And a little explanation of what those ballot questions are, and then step-by-step instructions, right? When you follow this, after you've marked off your ballot with a blue or black pen, right? You fold it up. You're going to put it into the first envelope, okay? And then you seal the first envelope, and you put the first envelope into the second envelope, right? You seal it up, okay? And you notice it says no postage necessary. You can just drop this off in one of those blue mailboxes, and it will get to the Board of Elections. All right, and then you check your email. If you left them your email when you applied, they should be able to contact you. All right, so I'll give you a little more information after our interview about mail-in ballots, sorry, and registering to vote. But right now I want to turn it over and to my students. I want to welcome Mr. Fareed Abdullah for the 198th.
Thank you. Greetings, everyone.
All right, so our first question is coming from Harry.
Good morning. So the first question is, do you mind telling us a little bit about your background and within education experience and everything?
Yes, that's a great question, Harry. So as everyone has been mentioned to them, my name is Fareed Abdullah. And I am running for the 198th district, legislative district, which will be serving parts of Germantown, Nicetown, Tioga, and also East Falls. So just giving you a little brief update on who I am and my educational background. For most of you, you guys are still in school. I started off a little bit different. I dropped out of high school in the 10th grade, and I for some reason, I just didn't feel like I was cut out for school. And I knew that wasn't a great decision, but that was the choice that I made. I actually went back to school at the age of 35 and received my high school diploma in New Jersey. And then I wanted to continue on going to further my education. I went and got my associate's degree. And then in 2017, I received my bachelor's degree in sociology and anthropology. In 2019, I received my master's in educational leadership and administration from Purdue University. And I am currently enrolled for my doctoral degree in educational leadership and administration at Drexel University right here in Philadelphia. So I didn't start off as the sound type of person. You know, I definitely been through the trenches, and you know, I'm able to understand young people who are going through some of the things that I went through. But I am a strong advocate of education, and that's why I'm still in school, even with me running for office. I ran for city council at large last year here in Philadelphia, while the whole time I was doing my master's degree. So I am completely ecstatic about education.
Thank you for sharing.
Are you welcome?
For the second question, could you please describe the responsibilities and powers of Pennsylvania State House members?
Yes. So in the State House, you have the duties of legislating laws of policies that's going to be conducive for the whole state of Pennsylvania. So say education reform, criminal justice reform, creating policies that's going to be conducive for people who are disadvantaged. When you're in this type of elected position, you have to work with 203 state reps. I would make one, which would leave me to work with 202 other state representatives. But it's not just about legislating laws, it's also about putting resources in the community that you're representing, such as my community. It's very impoverished. I live in Nicetown and also parts of Germantown. There's a lot of crime and lack of jobs, and the main focus is to create opportunity, whereas people who are living in those areas will be able to create their own stability. So that is the job of any type of legislator, is to really take care of the common people.
The next question is, why are you running to be the representative for the 198th district?
Another great question. I'm running to be elected in the 198th district. It's because I'm a leader. You know, this is my calling, is to serve people, and I understand the process of politics and what politics can do for communities, for cities, for municipalities, for states. You have to have some type of understanding of what can be done to change the circumstances of individuals. And I know, although I'm a leader in my community, there needs to be more than what I can do from just having a name. But when you have that title in front of your name, you're able to see certain things that you might not see on the ground level, but more on the balcony level. And that's why I'm running for this seat, to bring this transparency into the community.
Thank you, Mr. Abdullah. So my question is, what can you do to ensure that as a city and state, we are ready for round 2 of COVID-19 or any other illness/disaster with similar closures like we are currently facing?
So, you know, if we look at COVID-19, you know, you had states that were, you know, not aware of what was going on. Of course, there's conspiracies out there that the country, certain people knew that this was coming. If you're reading and listening to the news. So now that we know that COVID-19 is here, and is something that may come back around, now as leaders, we have to make sure that we have different things in place that's going to prepare or make sure that our hospitals are that they have the right essentials needed, that people are still protecting themselves, that they're building their immune system up, they're practicing some type of distancing. The governor just mentioned yesterday that we will be opened up in June 4th, I believe. And, I'm sure the virus will still be out and about. So we still have to make sure that we are making ourselves aware or educated that this is a virus that a lot of people still don't know how it came about. So as a leader, we have to make sure that we have resources in place, money in place, that we can start to fill up these areas where people who don't have, that they'll be able to have the next time around.
Hi, I'm William, and the question I'm asking is, as our country and state are coming back from economic effects of COVID-19, what are you going to do to help the efforts in coming back for businesses, essential workers, etc., locally and at a state level?
So once in office, that's part of my platform, entrepreneurship, and bringing jobs into the community. And that's what I was saying about resources. It's not just about legislating laws, but it's about putting money back into the community. If you look at Philadelphia, for a perfect example, the businesses are definitely shutting down. They're not going to be able to open up. I have a lot of friends who own businesses right in my district, and they don't know how they're going to manage, because when the country reopens completely, people are still going to be afraid to go and patronize these businesses because of certain individuals that may have contracted the virus. One of my friends who's a business owner contracted the virus, and he's afraid. He owns a lounge. He's afraid to reopen up his lounge because of the people that would pack into his lounge, and he doesn't want to be responsible or held accountable when someone contracts and could die. So as a leader, we have to make sure that we are encouraging and also empowering our businesses to restructure or remodel the way that they do things. I had a conversation yesterday, and we were talking about the eateries. You know, now people who would usually go into a restaurant to eat, you know, business owners are going to have to come up with ways to bring things outside, but also to limit how many people are able to come into their establishment. So we have to just keep empowering people that their businesses can come back, or they can also restructure the way that they ran businesses.
Okay, so Mr. Abdullah, the next question is, how important is student safety like within communities in which they attend school, and how would you go about making these communities like safer for students?
No, another great question, William. You know, wow, what do we see out here in the cities? We see a lot of crime, a lot of men and women are being gunned down, senseless killings, simply just being at the wrong place at the wrong time. And you know, a lot of times people would say, well, you have to give jobs, you have to give more programs to the young people, and I'm in complete agreement with creating more programs for young men and young women, whereas they are feeling as if they are included into the process. So when we talk about schools, I'm also a teacher as well, and I know that students come to school with many of different issues that stems from being out in their environment. I grew up in an environment where, you know, it was crime and drugs and different things of that nature. In order for us to change the trajectory and the narrative of giving young people that sense of safety, is that we have to start creating student council. We have to create community council with young people and allow you guys to be the voices of your peers, and not, you know, my age group, or feeling as if we know exactly what it is that you and your peers are in need of, but allowing you to be the voice exactly what's happening right now. You know, your teacher is allowing you to be the voice and to express how you feel and what you want to see happen. And that is something that, you know, I make sure that I am doing now and will do when in office.
Mr. Abdullah, the next question is, what would you do to provide more resources for students' mental health?
That's enough. You know what? That's part of my platform as well. The mental health thing, you know, a lot of us adults, we're dealing with mental health issues as well. When you talk about young people who are dealing with issues from their environment, from their home, from things that they don't even know why they're dealing with this. Not just having guidance counselors or counselors in the school. We have to make sure that money is put, aside to make sure that young people are being treated as if you are equals, and not, oh, this child has a problem or they have a nasty attitude. When I, was teaching in the class, students would come in with all types of problems that they had, and they just needed someone that they could reach out to and talk to and trust. But we have to make sure that money is set aside for programs that's going to be conducive and effective to help young people who have mental issues, and show young people that they don't have to be afraid to talk about whatever they're going through, but that you're safe, and that whatever you're going through, it will be rectified somehow in some way.
Good morning, Mr. Abdullah.
Good morning.
Were you gonna speak?
No. I was saying good morning.
All right, okay. So my question for you is, what will you do to make sure that Pennsylvania schools are fairly funded so that Philadelphia students can get an education that's equal to students living in wealthy suburbs?
So that brings it back to the legislative process. So I'm a Democrat, and in Harrisburg, you have it's mainly run by Republican state representatives. And I'm gonna be so honest with you. Philadelphia is looked at as basically a city for a lot of leaders throughout the state, like, really not respected. A lot of legislators look at Philly like, all they're asking for is money, and we don't want to give money. It's almost like a divide. So fighting for education reform, fighting for money, fighting for certain resources, what I'm going to do is not focus on asking my colleagues in Harrisburg, would they be willing to put more money or funding into Philly, but work with private entities. And with private entities are developers, investors that come into the city, working with city council members, whereas people who desire or who have a like mind to see inner cities or schools functioning at the same pace as other affluent areas, but to put money right into those schools. And this is something that can be done. When people that come into our cities that invest or they develop, it's up to us as leaders to make sure that some of the money is being put aside for young people or for students, for communities, to make it better with modern technology and all these different things. Sometimes elected officials, they get into these fights, whereas nothing gets passed. So you have to think outside the box. And that is something that I'm already doing and will do once in office on a higher level, is work with people who have a love to see young people thrive.
The next question is, what will you do to make the biggest impact on the lives of Philly youth?
So what will I do to make the biggest impact? Well, I'm leading by example. Starting off in this conversation, I talked about me being a high school dropout. I am not going to sit here and act like my life was, a silver spoon and I'm just way up here and never been through anything. But leading by example, the other day, this Monday, or the past Monday that passed, I was walking down Shelton Avenue, and there was an abundance of trash on the streets. And I immediately went live and started talking about the fact that we are in our communities and we're not keeping our communities clean. But instead of me just talking about it, I put actions to the forefront. Right after I got off of that live, I immediately connected with an organization, and that was a Friday that I went live. That Monday, the next Monday, I was out cleaning up the streets, and we literally turned that whole block into something that people would say, wow, I'm proud of what you're doing. This is how you make an impact, by leading by example and showing people that you're more than just talk, that you're willing to get out there and put your boots on the ground and do the hard work. And that's something that I pride myself on.
Good morning. My question for you is, what is a fun fact about you? You can share something like a hobby, pet, sport, art, music, food, or other human interest story.
So I'm a big fan of skating, roller skating. Before the pandemic, every Wednesday I would go skating in Camden, and it's adult night. I mean, I live for skating. It's my therapy. So the other day, when was it, Saturday? What's today? I'm losing days. What's today? Today is Friday. What was that? Sunday. The past Sunday, I pulled over because a DJ, a skating DJ, he was on live, Facebook Live, and he was, wherever he was at, he was DJing, and I pulled over on Old York Road and went into a park and had my skates in the trunk. And I got out the car and started skating and went Facebook Live and also on Instagram. And, it went viral. People were, just dancing to the music or whatever they were doing because everyone was on Facebook Live. He was on his live. I was on my live. And I just immediately just started skating and people were driving by. They were blowing their horns like, okay, get it, do your thing. And it was so refreshing for me to just get out there and do something that I love, knowing that I can't go into the building at this moment, but I could still appreciate life and still show that I have a human side to me.
Thank you for the response, Mr. Abdullah. My name is Shayla, and I'm a part of Central's voter registration team. We register all of the high school eligible voters. And you talked a lot about students being important to you and young people being involved and them being properly represented. And we want to know, why is it important for young people to vote?
So I didn't tell you guys, I have a 17-year-old son and an 18-year-old daughter who just graduated, who will be going to Delaware State next year. And even I was teaching at a school in New Jersey called Pennsauken High School, and I was teaching financial literacy. But in the midst of me teaching financial literacy, I would always talk about the importance of voting, the importance of young people being part of the process. I'm going to be as honest as possible. The younger generation, your generation, it is up to you all to be the voice of reason, to be the voice of change. And a lot of us who are older, I'm going on 42, a lot of us who are older, our time is starting to pass away. And if we don't have young people carrying that same voice or that same message that other generations has carried, we will continue to see what we have right now. So for young people to know that these times, like when I was your age, we weren't even thinking about voting really. Like it wasn't that serious because the older generation, they carried everything, the things that are happening today. We didn't have social media. We didn't have, a lot of things being thrown in our faces, and our parents they hid things from us. But now your generation, you're able to see what the world is really about. And if your voices are not heard, it's not just about marching or protesting, but it's about being involved in the electoral process. And not only that, to start building young people up now who want to get involved in politics and start running for office. But if young people are not going to do that and just be a voice behind social media, Instagram, or most young people are on Instagram and Snapchat, if you're not pushing your agenda to the forefront, just look what happened with the young man in Georgia who was gunned down, and then yesterday another guy in Indianapolis who was gunned down by police officers. Young men and young women. It is about you young people being in these elective positions, and you can get into those positions at a young age. We don't understand everything that you understand because you're living it. So it's very important for y'all to get out there and start voting.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Abdullah. Really appreciate you coming out today, joining our class online during these strange times. and answering the students' questions. Really appreciate it. And thanks to the students who just spoke up. You did a great job. Do you want to say any last few words here?
Oh, me?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you once again. I really appreciate the opportunity. Anytime I get the chance to talk to students, this is wow. It means the world to me because the life that I came from and where I'm at today, I'm able to share my past experiences, the good and the bad, and to know that young people, I fight for young people, and this is something that I do. And I'm also, for some of you, if you want to follow me on Instagram, you'll see all the things that I do for young people and all the schools that I go and talk to young people. I just want you to know that whatever you're going through, if people tell you you can't make it, if they tell you that, you don't have it, you continue to fight, because I'm a living example of when people said you would never be anything. But I'm a year away from having my PhD and didn't have a high school diploma 8 years ago. So it's all about what you want to do with your life. And I know with hard work and determination, you guys will be the best. So I appreciate everything that you're doing also. Tom, I can feel your energy. You're a good person. So continue to move these young people to the next level. And thank you all again for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I plan to do that. So thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to jump over here to the final slides here for just a minute. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Fareed Abdullah, running for State House of Representatives in the District 198.
Thank you.
Okay, and just interviewed by my students at Central High School in my social science class. So if you need to register to vote, please do so before May 18th at tinyurl.com/PAVotes2020. And if you're already registered, please vote by mail. You have to apply. It's a two-step process. Vote by mail. You apply for the application. They'll mail you the ballot, and then you mail that back in. You need to go to votespa.com in order to register for that mail-in ballot. If you want to get involved, there's a number of things coming up. Philly Youth Vote and Vote That John are organizing a event on May 16th in the early evening with DJ Jazzy Jeff, DJ Diamond Cuts, LPG Qua, a number of other Philly celebrities, Philly famous people. And we're going to be registering people to vote all over the city and region on that day. So please join us for one of those things. Thanks again, and good luck.